Part 1. The Prison of Modern Failure. Failure. The word itself lands like a judgment, a closed door, a final verdict. We live in a world that is terrified of it, yet obsessed by its opposite. We scroll through digital museums of curated success, the perfect lives, the flawless careers, the effortless victories of others. In this environment, our own setbacks, our own missteps, our own humanity feel like a betrayal. The fear of failure is a silent prison. It dictates our choices before we even make them. It's the voice that whispers, "Don't try. What if you look stupid?" It's the paralysis that keeps us in jobs we hate, in relationships that have faded, in lives that are smaller than the ones we dreamed of. We are programmed to see failure as an end, a mark of shame, definitive proof that we are not smart enough, not talented enough, not good enough. But what if everything you were taught about failure was wrong? What if it wasn't an ending, but a beginning? Not a judgment, but a tool. Not an obstacle, but the path itself. To understand this, we must turn away from the noise of the modern world and listen to a voice from the distant past. His name was Epictetus. He was not a wealthy academic teaching in a marble hall. He was a slave in the Roman Empire. He was lame, his leg broken by his master. He owned nothing, not even his own body. By every measure of his society and ours, his life was the definition of failure. Yet this man, from the very depths of powerlessness, forged a philosophy of such profound strength and resilience that it has echoed for 2 millennia. His ideas were not theories, they were weapons. Weapons for survival. Weapons to build an inner fortress that no external force, not even an emperor, could ever breach. Epictetus looked at the landscape of human suffering and saw a fundamental error. He saw us suffering not from events, but from our judgments about events. And in no area is this more true than our judgment of failure. Today, we will embark on a deep dive. We will dissect the 5 brutal, uncompromising, and life-changing lessons from Epictetus that will fundamentally reprogram your relationship with failure. This is not a motivational speech to make you feel better. This is a surgical operation on your core beliefs, a 7,000-word journey to dismantle the prison of failure and turn its very stones into the foundation of your greatest strength. This is how you turn failure into your greatest weapon.
The first lesson is the foundation stone. It is the absolute, non-negotiable starting point of all Stoic practice. If you do not grasp this, nothing else matters. Epictetus draws a line in the sand of reality. He states it simply in his Enchiridion. Some things are within our power, and some things are not. Within our power are our own judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions. In short, everything that is our own doing. Outside our power is everything else. Our body, our property, our reputation, our career position, the weather, the economy, the opinions of other people, the outcome of our efforts. The modern mind rebels against this. We are taught the opposite. You can be anything. If you just hustle hard enough, you will succeed. We are sold a fantasy of total control.
And this fantasy, Epictetus would say, is the source of our misery. Because the moment we tie our peace of mind to something we do not and cannot fully control, we have enslaved ourselves. We have handed the keys to our inner citadel to forces outside us. So, what is true failure? Ask the average person. They'll say failure is getting fired, a business going bankrupt, a relationship ending, getting a bad grade. Epictetus would laugh. He would say, these are not failures. These are externals. They are indifference. They are simply things that happen. They have no power to harm you. They are neutral data. True failure, the only failure, is the failure of what is in your control. It is the failure of your Prohairesis, your moral will, your faculty of choice. True failure is choosing to act with cowardice. True failure is choosing to lie. True failure is choosing to give in to bitterness, to blame others, to abandon your principles, to stop learning. Let us make this painfully modern. Imagine two entrepreneurs, Sarah and Tom. They both pour their lives into a startup. They work 100-hour weeks. They sacrifice. They build. After 3 years, a sudden market shift, a new technology, a global pandemic makes their product obsolete. The company fails. It goes bankrupt. By the world standards, both have failed. Tom collapses. His identity was his company. His self-worth was his valuation. The external outcome, bankruptcy, defines him. He falls into depression, blaming the market, his investors, his team. He has failed, and so he is a failure. His inner world is destroyed by an outer event. Sarah is also devastated. She feels the pain of the loss, but she runs a different operating system. She runs the Epictesian model. She performs a brutal post-mortem. She asks, what was in my control? What was not? The market shift, not in my control. The pandemic, not in my control. The final outcome of the business, not in my control. My effort, in my control. Did I give my best? My integrity, in my control. Did I treat my employees honorably as it went down? My reaction now, in my control. Sarah understands that the business failed, but she did not. The only way she could truly fail now is by choosing to let this event crush her spirit. The only failure would be to refuse to learn, to give in to despair, to become bitter. She grieves the loss, but then she begins to analyze. The failure becomes the most expensive, most valuable MBA she could ever receive. It is data. It teaches her about market timing, about adaptability, about cash flow. Tom, chained to the external, is broken. Sarah, anchored to the internal, is forged. This is the dichotomy of control. It is a razor. It separates what is you from what is not you. Most people live their entire lives in a state of confusion, trying desperately to control the uncontrollable, while completely neglecting the one thing they do control, their own mind. When you fail a test, the grade is external. Your preparation and your analysis of the mistakes are internal. When you are rejected in a relationship, the other person's choice is external. Your dignity, your self-respect, and your choice to love well while it lasted are internal. The world cannot make you fail. It can only present you with harsh externals. You choose failure when you abdicate your power of choice, when you let those externals poison your inner world. If the first lesson is the map of the territory, the second lesson is how you guard its borders. Epictetus gives us one of the most practical psychological tools ever devised. It revolves around two key terms, fantasia, impressions, and synkatathesis, assent. It works like this. Life happens. An event occurs. A failure. You get passed over for a promotion. Someone insults you online. You check your bank account and it's lower than you expected. These events create an impression in your mind, a fantasia. This is the raw, unprocessed first thought. This is terrible. I'm a loser. My life is over. That person is right. I am worthless. This first impression is automatic. It's an animal reflex. Epictetus says this is fine. You are not a stone. You will feel the sting. But, and this is the crucial part, that first impression is not reality. It is a proposition. It is an offer. It is a knock at the gate of your mind. You, the guardian of your inner citadel, have a choice. You can assent, synkatathesis. You can agree with it, open the gate, and let it conquer you. Or you can withhold assent. You can pause. You can step back. You can look at this impression objectively, as if it were an object in your hand, and say, you are just an impression, and not at all the thing you claim to represent. This is the Stoic pause. It is the creation of a space between stimulus and response. Let's use a modern, painful example. You've been working on a creative project for months. A painting, a novel, a business plan. You pour your soul into it. You present it to a person you respect, or perhaps you post it online. The response is brutal. It's ignored. Or worse, it's torn apart by criticism. This is derivative. This is amateurish. This is just bad. The impression, fantasia, hits you like a physical blow. I have no talent. I've wasted my time. I'm a fraud. The untrained mind immediately assents. Yes, that is true. The gate flies open. Despair, shame, and anger flood the citadel. The creative spirit is murdered. Failure is complete. The Stoic in training does something radically different. The impression hits, I am a fraud. The guardian at the gate steps forward and pauses. He says, hold. You are just an impression. Let me examine you. What actually happened? An external event. A person expressed their opinion. Another external event. The algorithm did not pick up my post. These are externals. They are not in my control. The criticism itself, is it valid? Let me analyze it dispassionately. Does it contain data I can use? This part about pacing might be true. I can learn from that. This part calling me talentless is just an opinion, an external, which has no bearing on my inner worth. Failure, you see, is almost never the event itself. It is the narrative we attach to the event. Failure is event plus assent to a destructive judgment. By withholding assent, you break this equation. The event is still there. The pain of the criticism might still sting, but you have not allowed it to define you. You have not agreed to the story that I am a failure. You have held the line. This is a skill. It is not a magical incantation. It is a muscle. It must be trained every single day. You train it by noticing the tiny judgments you assent to. When you're stuck in traffic, the impression is, this is ruining my day. Pause. You are just an impression. This is just traffic. I can't control it. I can control my reaction. I will listen to a podcast. This is not bad, it just is. When you make a mistake at work, the impression is, I'm going to get fired. Pause. You are just an impression. I made an error. That is a fact. The consequences are not fully in my control. My response, to own it, fix it, and learn from it, is in my control. I will focus on that. This is the power of assent. Epictetus taught that men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. He is handing you the key. The events of life cannot force their way into your mind and make you suffer. You let them in. You agree to their terms. Stop agreeing. Stop assenting to your own defeat. Guard the gate. Examine every impression, and choose with defiant purpose to assent only to what is true, rational, and in your control.
The first two lessons are defensive. They are about building the walls and guarding the gates. This third lesson is offensive. It's where you take the energy of the attack and use it against the attacker. This concept is most famously captured by Marcus Aurelius, who studied Epictetus. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. But the root is in Epictetus. He viewed every difficulty, every setback, every failure as a sparring partner. He said, every difficulty in life presents us with an opportunity to turn inward and to invoke our inner resources. Think about that. An opportunity, not a tragedy. He would ask, does this difficulty prevent you from acting with justice, with temperance, with courage, with self-control? No. In fact, it demands those virtues. The failure is not a block. It is a test. It is a prompt. It is the universe asking you, so, you say you want to be brave? You say you want to be resilient? Here is your chance to prove it. We have this completely backward. We think life should be smooth. We think a good life is one without problems. Epictetus says this is nonsense. A life without problems is a life without growth. It's like wanting to be strong but refusing to lift heavy weights. The weight is the failure. The resistance is the setback. This is the most powerful reframe in all of human psychology. Failure is not a verdict. It is information. Failure is not punishment. It is resistance training. Let's look at the modern world. We are obsessed with avoiding discomfort. We seek hacks, shortcuts, and the path of least resistance. What does this create? Fragility. It creates a generation of people who, when faced with real adversity, a job loss, a divorce, a true crisis, simply shatter. They have no mental calluses. They have no spiritual muscle. Epictetus saw hardship as a gift from the gods. He would say, "What a misfortune for you that you have not been unfortunate. You have passed through life without an adversary. No one will know what you can do, not even you." The failure is the only thing that reveals you to yourself. Look at Michael Jordan. The story is now legend. He was cut from his high school varsity basketball team. This was a public failure, a stinging rejection. The impression, you're not good enough. He could have assented to it. They're right, I'll quit.
That would have been true failure, the failure of his inner will. Instead, what did he do? He used the obstacle as the way. That failure was not a wall, it was a staircase. He used the humiliation as fuel. He used the sting to wake him up for 4 a.m. workouts. The memory of that failure became his greatest training partner. It created the discipline. It forged the legend. Now apply this to your life. You failed a major exam. Standard view, I'm stupid. I'll never get this degree. Epictetan view, this failure is information. It has revealed a critical weakness in my study habits. This is an opportunity to learn how to learn, a skill more valuable than the degree itself. This failure is my teacher. Your long-term relationship just ended. Standard view, I've wasted 5 years. I'll be alone forever. I am unlovable. Epictetan view, this pain is immense, but it is a prompt. What is it asking of me? It's asking for resilience. It's an opportunity to rebuild my identity based on myself, not on another person. It's a chance to learn what I truly need in a partner. This pain is a forge. When a failure happens, the Stoic in training does not say, "Why me?" They ask a different set of questions. What virtue is this event demanding of me? Patience, courage, humility, honesty. What lesson is embedded in this failure? A lesson about my preparation, my assumptions, my character? How can I use this energy, the pain, the anger, the frustration? How can I channel it into productive action, like Jordan's workouts? This is not toxic positivity. This is not pretending the failure doesn't hurt. It does hurt. The weight is heavy. The Stoic does not deny the weight. The Stoic lifts the weight, because they know that the very act of lifting is what makes them strong. The obstacle is not blocking the path. The obstacle is the path. Your failures are not your shame. They are your curriculum. They are your fuel.
We come now to the core of Epictetus's entire system. It is the most empowering and most challenging of his ideas. It is the concept of the Prohairesis. This word is often translated as moral will, faculty of choice, or rational self. But it's simpler to think of it as the real you. It is the part of you that chooses, the part that assents, the part that judges. Epictetus says this Prohairesis is the only thing you truly own. It is the only thing that is purely in your control. And here is his radical claim. Your Prohairesis is invincible. Who can conquer your Prohairesis? No one, not even Zeus. Think about that. Not even the king of the gods can force you to assent to a belief. He can't force you to desire something you choose to reject. He can't force you to be a coward if you choose to be brave. He can, as Epictetus knew well, have your body chained. He can have your leg broken. He can have you exiled. He can have you killed. Those are all externals. But he cannot touch your mind. He cannot make you believe you are a victim. He cannot make you betray your principles. He cannot make you hate. Only you can do that. This is the ultimate separation of identity from outcome. This is where we go so wrong in the modern world. We merge our identity with external outcomes. I am a CEO. I am a Harvard graduate. I am a failure. These are all lies. CEO is an external role that can be taken from you. Harvard graduate is an external event in your past. Failure is an external outcome. Your identity, your prohairesis, is separate. It is the chooser behind the scenes. Let's see this in action. A public figure is caught in a scandal. They lose their job, their reputation, their wealth. The media, the world, says this person is destroyed. They are finished. The outcome is failure. But the prohairesis is for the first time facing its clearest choice. It can choose to assent. My life is over. I am worthless. I will hide in shame. Or it can choose, I made a terrible mistake. I acted without virtue. That is a fact. My reputation is an external, and it is gone. What is in my control now? To take responsibility, to be honest, to endure the shame with dignity, to, perhaps, rebuild a new life based on humility and service. One choice is the true failure, the surrender of the will. The other is the beginning of redemption, even in the face of total external ruin. This is why Epictetus, a slave, was considered freer and more powerful than the emperor who ruled him. The emperor was a slave to his fears, his paranoia, his reputation, his desires. Epictetus was free because the only thing he valued, his prohairesis, was the one thing no one could ever take from him. So when you fail, you must make this separation with the sharpness of a sword. The project failed. You did not. The relationship failed. You did not. The exam failed. You did not. You are the invincible chooser, and your failure is simply a harsh new circumstance in front of which your prohairesis must now make its next virtuous choice. This is the source of all true self-respect. It is not based on your wins. It is not based on your bank account or your follower count. It is based on the unshakable knowledge that no matter what the world throws at you, your core is untouched. You may be beaten. You may be broken in body. You may be stripped of everything you own, but you are never conquered, because your will, your prohairesis, is invincible. Your identity is not, I am a failure. Your identity is, I am the one who chooses how to respond to failure, and in that choice lies all your power.
This final lesson is the capstone. It is the most advanced, the most difficult, and the most liberating. It flows from the discipline of desire, which essentially asks, what should we want? The untrained mind wants things that are not in its control. I want it to be sunny. I want them to love me. I want this business to succeed. And because we want what we cannot guarantee, we live in a constant state of fear and anxiety. And when those things don't happen, we are crushed. Epictetus offers a radical alternative. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish for things to happen the way they do happen. Then you will be happy. This is the forerunner to the concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate. It is not just tolerating what happens. It is not just accepting what happens. It is loving what happens. This is the ultimate reframe of failure. Let's go back to our failed exam. Step 1, dichotomy. The grade is external. My study is internal. Step 2, assent. The impression, I am stupid, is just an impression. I withhold assent. Step 3, obstacle. This failure is a training partner. It will force me to become a better student. Step 4, prohairesis. My identity is not failed student. My identity is the chooser who will respond to this. Now, step 5. Amor fati. This failure, this exact failure at this exact time was necessary. I welcome it. I love it. Because the universe, or logos, or reality, has determined that this is the precise event I need to experience right now to become the person I am supposed to be. This is a profound shift. It is not, I will make the best of this. It is, this is the best. Why? Because it is. To argue with reality is insanity. To wish the failure hadn't happened is to wish the universe were different, which is a child's tantrum. Look at J.K. Rowling. Before her success, she was, by her own admission, the biggest failure I knew. Divorced, jobless, a single mother on benefits. This was not a small setback. This was total, systemic failure. She could have spent her life wishing it were different, but in hindsight, she called that failure a gift. She said that rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. The failure stripped away the inessential. It forced her to focus on the one thing that mattered to her: writing. The failure was the crucible. Without it, there would be no Harry Potter. Her failure was the necessary path to her destiny. Amor fati is the practice of looking at your failure and saying, good. I was fired? Good. This is the shock I needed to stop coasting and find work that matters. My relationship ended? Good. This pain is the catalyst I need to finally become whole on my own. My project was rejected. Good. This means it wasn't right or it wasn't ready. The universe is protecting me from a path that wasn't mine and forcing me to refine my craft. This is not passivity. It is the opposite. It's not saying, I failed and I'll just sit here. It's saying, this failure happened. It is now a fixed part of my past. I accept it completely. I embrace it as necessary. Now, given that this has happened, what does my prohairesis, my internal will, choose to do next? It stops the wasting of energy. All the energy we spend on, if only, I wish, it's not fair. All that psychic poison is instantly neutralized. All that energy is now freed up for one thing: productive action. From here, you stop fighting a war with the past, a war you will always lose, and you become a focused, effective, powerful agent in the present. This is the final weapon. To love your failures, to see them not as mistakes, but as ingredients. To know that the story of your life required that exact chapter of failure to make the triumph at the end mean something. To fail is external. To wish it hadn't happened is the true internal failure. To love what is, that is invincibility. We began in a prison, a modern prison of our own making, built from the fear of failure. Today, Epictetus has handed us the keys, not just one key, but 5. The first key, the dichotomy of control, the key that unlocks our chains from the outcomes we can't control and anchors us to the choices we can. The second key, the power of assent, the key that guards the gate of our mind, allowing us to see that failure is not an event, but a judgment we are free to reject. The third key, the obstacle is the way, the key that transforms the prison walls, turning the very stones of our setbacks into the fuel for our growth. The fourth key, the invincible Prohairesis, the key to our true identity, the unshakable knowledge that we are not our failures, we are the chooser who stands apart from them, unconquerable. And the fifth key, amor fati, the master key, the one that dissolves the prison entirely by teaching us to love the very failures we once feared, seeing them as the necessary, perfect, beautiful path of our own destiny. Failure is not a verdict, it is a function, it is data, it is resistance, it is a prompt, it is a teacher, it is, if you choose to see it this way, a gift. You are not defined by your stumbles. You are defined by the choice to get back up. You are not defined by the rejection. You are defined by your refusal to let it harden your heart. You are not defined by the bankruptcy, the divorce, or the bad grade. You are defined by your prohairesis, your invincible will, which, even in the ruins, can choose to act with courage, with integrity, and with purpose. The world will present you with obstacles. That is its job. Your job is to use them.